All right, fellas, we back live. My next question. This is for Nahom, who thinks my questions can sometimes be dumb questions. Do you think what we are seeing from Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga, do you think we will see that potentially from Liverpool or even Man City in the Premier League, that level of dominance because they have a bigger and better squad?
Now that you changed and rephrased the question, it's a good question to ask. I just want to put that energy out there. But it's gonna depend, man. If clubs like Chelsea, and clubs like United are investing like they are investing, it's gonna come down to how much money you spend, right? You're gonna need a deep squad. So if that happens, I don't think so. Um, and one thing about Liverpool players, man, they're getting run down. They're playing a lot of games, so this COVID times came at a right time. But they need to continue to build their team and improve their team. They don't have a owner that's going to continuously just invest and invest like City's owners are. So it's going to come down to them, spending money to improve their squad. And like Klopp said a couple of days ago, we have to refund everybody the tickets for the games that they missed. And then next season, potentially, there's not going to be enough. There's no money from fans, and that's where most of their money comes from, whether directly or indirectly. So they can't really spend big money. So I think maybe next year a City or Liverpool wins, but I think the other clubs like Chelsea and like United would close that gap. Yeah, that's my opinion on it.
Can I?
And one thing I want to add, Ryan, City got a ban, right? Or they're fighting in court, but they got a ban, so it's going to hurt their ability to buy players because there's no. If Kevin De Bruyne might leave, he's already on paper saying it depends on what happens in the courts, so that could also affect City's chances.
I think we've seen it before in the Premier League. But I think these days there's too much money and there's too many resources in the Premier League. And lately we've seen some of the mid-table Premier League clubs compete with the top four. You're seeing Leicester, City are in the top four. Tottenham is up there now consistently. And I think overall there's just too much money in the Premier League. Whereas the Bundesliga, it's
very top heavy.
Yeah, it's very top heavy, and Bayern Munich are just too strong and too consistent. I don't think with the popularity of the Bundesliga, with the resources, I don't think you'll ever see a league title in Germany with 4 or 5 teams competing neck and neck with Bayern Munich. It's just the gap is too great, and Bayern are too good.
So to answer your question, Figo. To answer your question, no, there will be no team in the Premier League that will ever be as dominant as Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. Bayern Munich has won the last.
We're struggling to hear you.
Okay. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Let me rephrase my response, Figo. No, there will be no team that in the Premier League that will dominate as much as Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. Bayern Munich has won for the last insert years here. Like they've been winning since the beginning of time. There will never be at this rate, at this point in time. I know back 30 years ago, 50 years ago when everybody was playing in black and white on your TV. There was a certain top 4 that you guys consider to be a top 4. That is not a thing anymore. You guys we're actually, the top 4 is so much no longer a thing that we've turned it into a top 6 because the teams that were in the top 4 are now bubbling down to being in the 5th and 6th spot, and now we're making it a top 6. Bayern Munich has been dominating the Bundesliga since day one. Dortmund had their chance this year because of the pandemic, because of the issues that they were having, I think, with their coach, and they had injuries on their squad. But all of that is now moot because they got a 1-0. They lost 1-0. After that game, it's no longer even a title race. I think there's like 6 more games left in the Bundesliga, but it's already written off. So no, there will never be a team in the Premier League that is as good as Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. It's like PSG versus everybody else in France. It's like that's how it is with Bayern Munich against everybody else in Germany. That's how it is with Real Madrid and Barcelona against everybody else in Spain. Of course, you're gonna have these one-offs where you have, what's their name? Bayern Leverkusen. Those guys would come up every now and then. Like I'm not even watching the Bundesliga anymore to see how much.
I think we get it, I think we know what you're saying.
Okay. So that's my take.
Go ahead, Bernard. Bernard, go ahead, tackle it, and then KG.
Yeah.
Bernard and KG.
Yeah. I think Premiership is that there's so much money involved that you will never have a situation like that. I think Akan said it perfectly. There is 6 big teams in the Premiership. Then you have.
Can you name them?
It's self-explanatory.
Not Arsenal.
Right? It's self-explanatory because so you have 6 big teams in the Premiership. Then you have 2 teams that is growing, which is the Leicester and the Evertons of the world. And you still have a team like Newcastle that if the takeover comes through, those guys are going to be a very dangerous team, right? So because there's so much money in the Premiership, you're going to have a team that dominates for 2 years or so, but then other teams, like we just went through COVID and teams are buying players for $4 million, where the team that's going to win the league refuse that same player because they don't want to spend that money. So there is so much money in the Premiership that one team winning it, like it's in Italy, like I have that. Like you're not gonna have a team winning the league. That's not gonna happen because there is so much money that's gonna be spread all around, and everyone is gonna get talent. So no, that can't happen in England.
Okay, KG, I want to hear your take on it.
I mean, I don't understand where people can say a team can't be that dominant. I mean, did we just miss the whole 3/4 of the season for Liverpool? Like, the man have lost like one.
So Liverpool is going to
in a calendar year. Like what? Like
so.
I don't understand.
So Liverpool is going to take over for the next 6 years.
Can I finish?
He's trying to be the outsider.
I didn't talk, Ed.
So I don't understand where people are acting like they haven't seen dominance. Like maybe not for the long term, but he asked, the question that was posed, when we come back, are we going to see any teams doing what Bayern is doing to the Bundesliga? We just saw a team do it for the last year. Like we just saw a team do it for the last year. So to say that they can't come back and do the same thing, they've been doing that shit for the last year. What was it? Boxing Day, Akan? Who were they playing when they just came back from Dubai? Oh, Leicester, and they gave those guys 6, and like nothing was going on.
So that's 2 different questions.
Yeah.
I'm answering the question that was asked. I'm answering the question.
Kevin has a question he has asked. You guys have been answering a question.
They haven't even won the league yet.
What?
Who?
No,
you talking about
Bayern
Bayern
the
Munich?
league yet?
Yeah, but that's more.
Not 5 years since they won the league.
Formality. We know they're going, but that's more formality. We know they're going to win the league.
What I'm saying is, dominating would mean that you don't have 1 year of success of winning the.
But that's not the question.
That's how I took it. How you took it might have been a little different.
No,
that's how I took it too.
Answer the question that was asked.
Guys,
it's a brother thing. It's a brother thing now.
Yeah, no, 100%. He was able to. He understood my question, so maybe I didn't ask it where the whole panel understood.
He answered it the way you want it to be answered. Is the right assessment of what happened?
No, the question was, are we going to see out of Liverpool or even Man City what we're seeing out of Bayern Munich after the pandemic? That level of dominance. Bayern Munich is hitting everybody over the head after the pandemic. And some on the last podcast, we argued different reasons why Bayern Munich has come out the gate flying and why other teams have not. And Bernard touched on the fact that they have a bigger squad, they're 15th and 16th player with 5 subs. this and that. So that Kevin answered the question correctly, but that doesn't mean you guys were incorrect. Kevin just won that. Kevin won that round. All right.
I don't believe he answered the question.
I don't think
Kevin.
I
disagree with that.
There's strength in numbers. There's strength in numbers in 3v2, and you guys are brothers, so it's like a 1.5. It's like a 1.5. Y'all not even 2.
and Ryan, I think Liverpool. I think if let's say Liverpool win the next 2 games, Liverpool, it's natural that they're gonna drop off because they have nothing more to play for, right? So will they lose all the rest of their games? I'm not gonna say no, but they're definitely not gonna be as dominant. That's one. And 2, the gap between Liverpool, because there's a difference. You see, the points total don't tell you the quality between the squad. The points total mostly tell consistency. Yes, the points total because
B, explain yourself because I don't get it.
Yes, let me explain because this is another Gary Cahill nonsense again. So let me get down to the nitty-gritty, right? The gap between Liverpool and Man City is not 25 points or 30 points.
It is
nonsense. Or in terms of quality, bro.
I'm not speaking to hypotheticals. Let's speak on facts. The gap is what it is. They played the same amount of games. They played against the same teams.
Yeah, but one team
won all of their games. One team didn't.
That's a level of consistency. Consistency doesn't necessarily mean talent.
One team won the Champions League. One team won the Champions League and lost the league by 1 point. And that same team is now ahead of the other team who they lost the league to by 30-something points. Those guys lost 1 game in a calendar year.
You're naming all the accomplishments of one club versus the other club.
What have you guys?
The other team has won the league back-to-back 2 times.
Yeah. Did you guys forget about the whole? Did you guys forget about the last calendar year or something? Like, did you guys act like shit didn't happen? Like,
last year.
Liverpool have been hands and away the best team in the world, and there's been nobody close. Like, nobody close.
No, but no one is debating that. KG. What I'm saying is the quality of the 2 squads is not 25. Is not 25 points. That's what I'm saying.
It is.
All right, okay, I'm ready to move on.
Bro, take it.
No.
I'm ready to move on.
It's like saying.
How are you gonna tell me it's not?
It's like
when
saying the
there's a
quality.
25-point gap.
It's like listen, KG. It's like saying the quality of Sheffield is better than Arsenal because of the points.
What?
Sheffield's quality better than Arsenal's?
That's why we're ahead of them in the league.
No,
Sheffield, not Chelsea.
Sheffield's not ahead of us in the league.
Please don't. In regards to Chelsea,
I guess you don't want to understand
Kevin,
my question.
because Kevin is going to tell you.
I understand your question. You're asking me a question that has irrelevant context. You're asking me about Sheffield United.
It
does have context. So what are you talking about?
B is arguing that you can sometimes be in a false position with your points, and I agree with that.
Because Sheffield,
it's common sense.
United
KG is just KG.
Yeah.
Guys, can I say something? All right, you guys can say KG is just being KG, but the reality of it is these guys are winning the league by a ridiculous amount of points. Like, and you can't ignore that either. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Ryan, no one is ignoring that. The team that's in second right now, is it that same team that's in second? That team won every title domestically last year, and they won the league like twice. So they're not a bad team. You could say they have a bad season in terms of their concentration on the Premiership because they're trying to focus on something else. While Liverpool is more concentrated on the Premiership because they haven't won it in 30 years and they won the champions. These things happen. The same Man City team that has a ban, they could use that same squad next year and be toe to toe with Liverpool. Are you telling me that Liverpool is 25 points better than Man City?
Yes.
Can we name the player for player?
Yes, I'm telling you that.
Ryan, answer that question. Ryan.
That's a fact.
Somebody answer that
question. Well, I don't understand why that's so hard for you to understand that concept.
Yeah, Ryan, what do you think?
Yourself, they're 25 points ahead. So that means. So if I beat you, Bernard, if we're playing a game and I beat you 10-0, am I 10 goals better than you or not?
today. But for the last 3 years,
so
they've been winning. Okay, the last 3 titles. Who won the last 3 Premier League titles?
Who?
Who won the last
Man
3
City,
Premier League
Chelsea
titles?
and Man City.
No.
But
It's Man City, Man City.
The last 3. The last
3. Chelsea,
Man City,
Man
and then
City,
now
Man
Liverpool.
City.
No, now Liverpool didn't win the title. I thought we already won it. It's relative, right? So we're counting them as winners.
Whoever said Liverpool won the title? You asked me a question, and I'm answering your question. Who won the last 3 titles? Chelsea, City.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
So no Liverpool.
Yeah, Ryan.
Liverpool haven't won the title yet. The season's not over.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to. Ryan left. I think he got logged off. There you go. There you go.
You got to
turn the video on.
No, yeah. So I agree with B.
Thank you.
I think a season doesn't determine the abilities of teams.
So why
with City and they're better this season.
Why did they play the
season?
Statement,
KG.
I think the reason that you're seeing a huge gap between the two this season is because Liverpool were chasing an undefeated season, and Manchester City didn't have much to play for in the league domestically. That's it. City have a good squad. Liverpool have a good squad. I don't think talent-wise the Liverpool are 30 points better overall than Manchester City.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they weren't motivated.
Yeah, I would say
points.
If we're talking 30 points better, I mean, it's all relative, you know what I mean? But I will say this, every time they play head-to-head, you know, we've seen what happens, all right?
Oh, no, they're better. I think Liverpool is better, but...
That's not the question, Rob. That's what I'm saying. You're swaying questions.
Now that's not the question.
That's not. 25 points better.
Now you want to start playing semantics of questions. I got you.
Hey, KG, we're going to move on to the next question. And as we transition...
Answer the question, Ron. Are Liverpool 25 points better than City?
I don't think... No, I don't know.
I don't want a rebuttal. I don't want a side-to-side. Answer the question.
I think if we take it in context, you know, like you said, Liverpool.
See, it's okay. Don't ever answer the question because you're going too far. Answer. Are they 25 points better? Watch this.
Let him provide context.
Are they 25? No, we don't want context.
We need context, my brother.
Are Liverpool 25 points better than City? Hold on. I'm going to give you an example. Are Liverpool 25 points better than City?
I don't think so.
Thank you. Now Ryan's turn, since we have to demo. Ryan, are Liverpool 25 points better than City?
No, I do not believe that they are 25 points.
Thank you. That's all I needed. God bless you.
But they are.
I don't care, but this is what you guys don't understand. I don't care what you believe. I can look at the fucking table and I can see the 25-point gap.
Why
you can believe whatever you want. I see the 25-point gap. So what that tells me is one team is 25 points better than the other. So
you're
I
way
don't
too
understand what
passionate about Liverpool, right? And you're wearing red.
There's people who believe that unicorns are real, bro. So you can believe whatever you want.
It's usually not 5 in a room versus 1.
All right, guys.
But like I said, you guys can believe whatever you want.
On to the next question. I'm losing control of the podcast. In order for me to let me host again, I got to keep control of the podcast. All right, let's regain control. I'm gonna move on to the next question, but I do like the energy though. B, get your hand off your face, please. All right, I would appreciate that. So I'm gonna combine these next 2 questions together and let you guys answer freely because we're running out of time. 2 things. Chelsea recently signed Timo Werner. All right, so I want to know what guys think of that signing, if they think that Chelsea's most recent signings are going to make them contenders. And I also want to know, with clubs showing that they are able to spend money, did they somehow trick us and trick the fans and trick their employees into believing that they didn't have money by all this furlough nonsense that was going on? I want Em to answer this question first, please.
Okay, so contenders. You said that is that by enough to make them contenders? Chelsea is currently fourth in the league. So to say that that's going to make them content, like they're already contenders. I don't think that purchase is going to make them win the league. Like there's a little bit more that they need than Timo Werner. Yes, he definitely will be filling a gap that has been there. Tammy Abraham has been trying his best to do what he does. He's a young player. He has a lot of potential. And Timo Werner is definitely a good signing for them. But I don't know if that's what's going to bring them up in the conversation of Liverpool and Man City. Has clubs been tricking us? Clubs, it's always about the bottom line. So when they're asking players to cut their salary, when they're doing all these other things, it's about how can we get out of this to end up not being in the red. It's pretty much it. So we're about to buy. Manchester United is considering buying Sancho for 100 million. We're also thinking about getting Jack Grealish. Tim Werner is going for 60 million. I don't remember how much. Arsenal probably won't get anybody, but you guys have money somewhere. So it's all about it like those clubs, like all those clubs have money. You know what I'm saying? It's all about it's always about the bottom line.
Okay, so I want to hear from Akan next. Akan, Timo Werner, and do you think that Ryan was right when he said it was ridiculous for clubs to be asking players to take pay cuts? Go ahead, answer the question, boss.
Timo Werner is a good signing. I think Chelsea still need a lot more than him to be contenders. But it's a step in the right direction. And I think as far as Chelsea spending money, look, they've got a history of shady transfer dealings, fancy financial footwork. There's always a cloud over Chelsea when it comes to their business and their books. So I think financial fair play is going to be they're going to be in overdrive once the season starts back up, and they're going to take a deep dive into Chelsea's books and really figure out what's going on over there, because they do this every year. It's every year with this club. So, who knows where they're getting the Timo Werner money is coming from. We've seen Stamford Bridge. Their capacity is on par with Audi Field and DC United here. So where is the revenue coming from? They're spending millions and millions and millions of pounds on players.
Chelsea fans are just gonna be quiet. You guys are real nice.
Every transfer window. So, I think with COVID-19, clubs are giving the benefit of the doubt. The benefit of the doubt. It's good faith is what they call it. It's a good faith transfer. They trust that Chelsea have learned from their mistakes in the past, and really are trying to do the right thing and walk a straight line. And we'll see, man. Judgment Day will come. UEFA is gonna, once everybody gets back to work and it's safe to enter the office, the accountants over at UEFA and financial fair play will have their work cut out for them. They're gonna take a deep dive into their books, and we're gonna see. We're gonna see what's going on over there. So their time will come.
All right,
KG. So, what makes you think that we can't afford Timo Werner and y'all can afford Nicolas Pepe?
Makes no math sense.
Look, Arsene Wenger is one of the champions of financial fair play. Arsenal as a club have a spot record when it comes to.
You guys are firing scouts left and right. Did you know that?
Comes to balancing the books. Our books are clean, so we've been a self-sustaining club for years now. Since
your books are clean, you're also
there's no question about it.
I haven't been in the Champions League in about 5 years, so you can keep your clean books.
Okay.
KG and clean trophy cabinet.
We're the winningest club in FA Cup history. So
wait,
keep that cup clean and shiny.
So I just want to see if I'm hearing clearly. Are we promoting that it's okay to cheat? That's what we're doing. Just let me know.
As long as you don't get caught.
That was clear in my message.
Okay, all right.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Look at the big clubs, it's okay to cheat as long as you get caught while the other one says, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. So that means I'm not bringing my kids around you for no advice. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Ryan,
this don't make
now
no
we got to.
sense.
Are we
Let's
properly
not
asking this question, or is it Chelsea
cheating,
bashing?
please.
All right. Bernard, I gotta regain.
You go from an Arsenal fan to an Arsenal fan.
No, I'm going to you, boss.
You're stuttering.
I'm sorry for stuttering. You cut me off. All right. Now, home. What do you think about the Timo Werner signing? And do you think clubs have been lying to the fans and the players in reference to finances? Because right now we see clubs buying players, and they were asking a couple weeks ago those same players to take pay cuts. Let's hear it from you, boss.
So I think you're setting this up to fit your narrative, and I disagree with every statement that you made for the most part. But the reason why Chelsea is in a different situation is because we just, in terms of buying Werner, that's not even money that's coming out of our pocket. We sold Hazard for 130 kg, correct me if I'm wrong, 150 million. The Morata deal just went through for 58 million, right? Mm-hmm. So there's reasons why we have this money. But if you look at Chelsea and how Chelsea have been moving lately, they want to be self-sustainable. They don't want to go to Roma and ask for money anymore. That's what's happening now. Was the plan? Did it get rushed? And we've said this on this podcast plenty of times, so it makes for like funny conversations when Akan says what he says. But there was no rumors of Chelsea firing anyone. As a matter of fact, Chelsea told the players, you're not taking a cut. They agreed on that, right?
Okay.
So we're in a different situation. And I referenced it earlier in my statement when I said Chelsea's in a different financial situation from the Liverpools and the Arsenals of the world. From what I read, when we look at our bottom line and it being balanced, Arsenal's the one leaking info about their players not taking a pay cut. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't think that's coming from your clean club, I don't know what to tell you. And I also saw an article saying that you guys are cutting your entire scouting department of some kind. I don't know how they maneuvered it, but it's just ill-informed is what I'll say. And then in corporate America, when these things happen and the shareholders are asking questions, the first thing they get rid of, what do you think it is? It's employees. It's just natural. They look at the big bulk of the money that's affecting their bottom line, and they say, where can we make cuts within this big bulk? And usually it's humans, unfortunately. Is it right? No. But is it what happens? Yes. Do you still have to compete moving forward? Yes. So do you reinforce your squad? Yes. That's my take on the whole situation. It's 200 million. No, it's over 200 million on two players of money we made.
Fellas, Bernard, Akan, the Chelsea men are on fire today, okay? I need you guys to step it up a little bit, okay? I'm going to skip over KG and go to Bernard because these guys, the Chelsea guys have been giving us fire today. Go ahead, B. I want to hear something from you in reference to Timo Werner. And this question actually came from you, B. Has the clubs been lying to the fans in reference to finances now that we see them buying players?
Do I think he's a good player? Yes. In fact, he's a very good player. I like him since the World Cup when Germany got knocked out in the first round. That's how I picked Germany to win, and I had him as the leading goal scorer. So I've been watching him for a while, right? Do I think they'll make Chelsea a contender? That I think on paper he's a talent, right? But there is a funny thing about young players and their second year in the league. The first year is one thing, but the second year in the league, when you get fully settled, guys start getting charged for rape or being accused of getting charged for rape, or guys start or other things like, you see, the feeling, the girls, the popularity, all of that stuff become a lot more. And because of that, as young players, you become less focused on football. That's one. And two, another thing, with those young players, which is what I've said before, the thing with Chelsea and those young players already know that they're very good and they're good enough to play for Chelsea. So because they already know that they're very good, will they accept now sitting on the bench? Because if Chelsea is going to buy all these players, will they feel comfortable sitting for by other super, right, which can cause a problem within the squad. And these are the little things that can make you a good contender or a team that just fades away and end up in third, fourth, right? So I think it depends. A lot of it going to be depends on the management of Frank Lampard.
Okay.
I just want to add to that point, Ryan. Let's not talk about young black males being charged with rape by white. We don't. We know that history. So let's not promote that and laugh and stuff like that. Okay.
But he didn't say anybody's name, and it's the reality of stardom. Like the president of the current president of the United States, has been accused of similar things, right? So it's not just, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't say anybody's name. Let's leave it at that. All right.
B, you said that Timo. You said that all the second year in the league, and he's gonna be fighting for his position. Like, it's him and Tammy Abraham. Like, how? What kind of a fight?
Timo Werner plays as a second striker anyway.
Right. So
no, he doesn't.
He's talking about the Chelsea team second.
No, he plays at Leipzig. He plays as a second striker.
Right. So at Leipzig, he's 9. He's a 9. He's a 9. So when he goes to Chelsea,
he plays more on the wing.
Yes, he plays off the left.
He's on the left wing. Left wing and striker.
Second striker.
So what I'm
almost like a Salah.
Yes, exactly. He can play as a striker because for Germany he plays as the 9, but for Red Bull he plays off the wing, right? So the thing is that they can have a situation. Because remember, they already signed the other African kid from Ajax. Right? Yes. The other African
Ziyech. Hakim Ziyech. Let's get that straight.
So they have him, and they already got Pulisic. They still have Hudson-Odoi. So they have quality players, right? So that means the 2 players that they sign, those 2 will start. You're not going to. They're saying they're going to offer him $200,000 a week. They're not sitting him on the bench. So you still have Mason Mount and Ruffles Cheek or whatever his name is. Those guys, again, they're good quality players. Season has already showed them that I can play in this league. So if I already know I can play in this league, it's going to be hard for Franklin to tell them next season that, hey, you're going to have to sit on the bench.
Somebody's going to be unhappy.
City does it. City put Mahrez on the bench.
But those guys are established players that already that
more of a disrespect.
Have a career. Those guys are established players. So it's different. That's when you're trying to look your career.
Mahrez came on a City team that just won the league. See what I'm saying? So it's a little bit different. But KG, I want to transition.
But I think it's harder to tell a player that's already making $200,000 and on an international level is a home name to sit on the bench versus telling a young kid to sit on the bench. And guess what? If they don't want to sit on the bench, we can sell them. We bought them for nothing. We produce them, and then guess what? We get more money and buy players. So I don't understand how can this be.
Well, Chelsea have made this mistake in the past. You saw what happened with De Bruyne and what happened with Salah. Those.
But we won the Champions League and four league titles in that time. How was that a mistake? Whatever you want in those times, my friend.
Hey, listen, don't attack my
club. If that's Chelsea's model, then that's their model. But
winning,
it's
the model.
All right.
Go ahead,
That's
KG.
the thing. Go ahead, KG. KG gonna represent.
Hey, and B, before we get to KG, B, yes or no? Did the clubs, I just want a yes or no. Do you feel the clubs have been dishonest with the fans in reference to finances? Unmute yourself, B. Unmute yourself.
I would say misleading. So they didn't tell the whole truth. I would say misleading. I wouldn't say dishonest. I would say it's like they didn't tell you a lie, but they just didn't tell you the whole truth.
Okay. KG, Timo Werner, and also...
I'll answer the clubs lying first. Some clubs lie, some clubs don't, right? So, I can only speak for Chelsea because that's really the only club that I've followed closely, in terms of their dealing with the pandemic. But all in all, like the way that they've dealt with the players and they've dealt with the pandemic itself has been like first class. So apparently what happened was they went to the players and like, yo, like you guys need to take a pay cut. And some of the players were like, no, we're not taking a pay cut. And instead of Chelsea being like, okay, like we're gonna leak who didn't take a pay cut, they were just like, fine. If you guys don't want to take a pay cut, it is what it is. You guys continue to donate your money to your separate charities. And then if we decide to do something later down the road, we'll figure it out, right? Because the thing about this pandemic has been, people have been so reactionary in an attempt to kind of quell the media jumping on the clubs for making decisions, not giving players pay cuts, furloughing employees, like all the different things that, that we've heard about the different clubs and the way that they've operated. So do I think that they were dishonest? No, I don't think that a lot of clubs knew or had the faculty or had the faculties to really handle this situation properly, right? So you can't really blame people for making bad or poor decisions in a circumstance that they never could have even imagined, they've never faced, they've never done it. So I think that they're all doing the best that they can. And at the end of the day, football's a money-generating sport, right? That's what it all comes down to. The more money you have, the better your club, the more successful you are. So for them to try and pinch pennies it's the name of the game. It's not, you know what I mean? If you had to do it all over again, they'd probably do the same thing. But
okay.
Are they lying?
But
nah,
hold on, did my man just say quell though? That KG wicked. He said quell. I don't know what that means in it. KG said quell. I'm like, I gotta Google this.
KG, touch on Timo for me. We've running out of time. I want to touch on Timo.
Timo, he's all right. I mean, Jerry's out. I don't like talking about strikers just because I feel like those guys are so hit or miss. Like he can either be great or he can be really, really bad. So I'm gonna let that man get to Chelsea and play, and then we'll figure it out after that. But at Leipzig, he's a player.
Okay, all right. I like that answer. So before we end the podcast, I want to ask everybody just one more question. And you can give me a reason why, or you don't have to give me a reason why. I want to ask everybody who their favorites are to win the Champions League when it does resume. I'll start with the con.
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid? Any reason why, or you just want Real Madrid?
They've got history.
History?
They're going to overturn the tie?
I think they could, man. I think they could.
Okay. All right. I know I caught you guys off guard, so I'm going to give M the question next. M, favorites to win the Champions League?
Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich. Okay.
Bayern Munich.
Isn't that convenient?
Well, they've been dominating everything else. I've mostly been focusing on the Premier League, so I know a lot about those guys. And anytime they come up against Premier League opponents, they basically walk over them like they're $2 hookers. So if they can do that to a Premier League team, then they have the potential to go all the way in Champions League.
Right on. All right. So I'm gonna transition over to Nahom, Champions League favorite, and if you want to give a reason why, give a reason why.
If only we played teams from Bulgaria, we'd win too. But yeah, I think Bayern Munich as well, because of the fact that they got a head start and they're just rolling. So I would say Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich, all right. Okay, Bernard, Champions League favorite, and if you want to give a reason why, give a reason why.
Arsenal. B's gonna say Arsenal.
No, actually, Man City, right?
Man City.
And I think that's I just think their focus this season seemed like it's the Champions League. I think they wanted to concentrate on guys that they're losing too much games in the Premiership. I think they started to concentrate on the Champions League. Like the first leg that they played, that's probably one of the best games that they played all season. Those team, Man City, is a dangerous team because they have a lot of weapons.
Yeah, B, I think the question caught a lot of guys off guard, but if they were able to revisit it, I think you may have a couple guys throw Man City in there. KG, let's hear from you.
PSG.
Okay.
I like PSG right now. I feel like them beating Dortmund in that second leg was like a really, if you watch that game, it's a performance that I haven't seen ever from PSG. Those are usually the moments where they drop the ball. You know what I mean? And so Neymar's going to be healthy. Mbappe's going to be healthy. You know, they've got a very, very, very talented squad, and they have the players to give anyone and everybody problems, you know, on their day. So it's like you play that team home and away. Like if you get a focused Neymar and a focused Mbappe, like that's scary.
Do you
Ryan,
think?
can I?
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I like PSG. I'm not disputing anyone's opinion. I'm just, again, this is what my problem comes in with France, right? PSG is at a disadvantage because those guys, they cut their league short, right? Now they're trying to bring back the league. So those guys are going to go into the Champions League, not really where some team have 8 to 10 games where it's a match fitness. PSG is not going to have any because they didn't have no league. You understand? So those guys are going to be at this. I'm just saying it's not fair on them compared to all the other teams that's going to be in the Champions League. Because the Champions League is not going to play until August, right? So what are those guys going to be doing? They have no league games. No, it's so bad over there that they're talking about trying to restart the French league.
Yeah.
Because they made a decision so early.
Yep.
And that goes back to my original point, though, is what I was saying is that you can't blame these clubs for making decisions in this time period, because you're basing them on things that nobody has experience in terms of making decisions. So
I get that. I don't think it's
he just thinks it's a disadvantage.
You think it's a disadvantage unfair to them? No, when Neymar is healthy and all those guys are at their best, I wanted to see them being on a level playing field as the other teams, so we can really get to see how good they are.
Right now, go ahead.
Isn't PSG's first game going to be a Champions League game?
Yeah,
potentially.
Essentially.
Yeah.
No, not the league is gone. So and let's be honest. Yes, I like watching PSG play, but who cares that the French league is dismantled? It was already won in last August, my friend. Let's be honest here. But yeah, I agree with B. I think that's the only disadvantage that they have is the fact that they're playing maybe one game every 3 weeks,
2 weeks,
2 weeks, however much that's, and they're not playing any games between that. You can scrimmage as much as possible, but it's not like an actual game. So, same reasons why I think Bayern Munich will win is the same reasons why I think PSG will have a disadvantage.
Khan, anything to add on PSG before we head out tonight?
Well, I mean, did you guys hear that they're doing this mini Champions League tournament from the quarterfinals on?
No, I didn't hear that. Go ahead and explain real quick.
So there's going to be a mini tournament from the quarterfinals until the final, and it's going to be hosted in Lisbon. So, you know, they're really pushing to get the Champions League finished by, I think, August. So that might change things a little bit.
Okay. That might be a good topic for next week. So
for who? City's the only team that's in Champions League.
I'm gonna change my pick to Juventus because CR7 is from Portugal. They're gonna be in Lisbon. He might be charged up.
By the way, Ronaldo's the only player that didn't black out his
Juventus
page.
Now.
I heard Ronaldo didn't black out his page because they didn't pay him. That's the guy you want to support, Khan.
Listen, he's worried about the bottom line, just like we all are. You know, we can't take the times and criticize players. It's all we're all figuring things out. So, lay off CR7.
All right, guys, man. So it was a great podcast tonight. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Soccer Family Podcast. Please, follow us on our YouTube channel as well as our Instagram page. And have a good night.
KG, stop recording.